Turning off my phone. Okay, awake. So please put your feet on the ground and close your eyes. And take a big inhale through your nose. Exhale through the mouth, slowly, slowly. And relax your forehead. Make sure that you're comfortable and your back is straight. You can release your jaw. Roll your shoulders so you can open up your chest and your heart. Relax your stomach. And let your hands rest wherever they want to rest, so they're not clutched or grasping anything too tight. And that your knees are not locked. And your legs are comfortable sitting on the chair. And that the chair is supporting you in this interview. And the floor is supporting the chair. And we can set the intention downwards to ground ourselves, because the chair is supported by the floor and the floor is supported by the ground. And we penetrate deeper to the ground, and the ground is supported by the earth. So the entire planet right now is supporting us in this interview. Creating a safe environment for our intuition, for the questions and answers to come, for any guidance that we need, to whisper in our ear anything that's important for us too and the viewers later in the future. And we just rest in this safeness of this grounding and the spontaneous conversation that it may bring. And one more big inhale. And exhale through the mouth. And welcome.
What a great honor to be here with you today,
Thank you.
Moran.
Thank you. Same.
I have had the great pleasure of meeting Moran through the Shamans Directory, a platform for earth-based healers around the world. It's a growing resource. It can be reached easily, shamansdirectory.com. I know from the profile in Shamans Directory that Moran was born in Israel. You live in Spain, and you're an energy medicine healer. You help provide people with a pathway to find their new life purpose by using traditional healing and shamanic methods. One of the things I was most struck by, Moran, was the mix of traditions that you draw upon, including Zen Buddhism, Egyptian traditions, Mongolian, South American. And I wonder if you'd like to begin by talking a little bit about how this mix of traditions affects your work. And the other thing I like about you, Moran, is that you're young and you're vital, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you. Sometimes I feel I'm too young, so need to be taken seriously as an elder. So, but yeah, you have to start somewhere. Mixing traditions is not something that I choose deliberately. It's just something that I had to do, because first of all, growing up, Israel, secular Jewish, there's not so much of a mysticism or any tradition, any lineage that I can draw from. There is Kabbalah, but that was never my thing. and it's very religious also. That's not my thing. So whenever I found a tradition that I liked or a teacher that I liked, I hope that they will be everything. They will teach me everything I have to know, and they will pick me as a student, and it's going to be like this amazing chemistry like you see in the movies, but it doesn't happen. Not for me. So I started, you can say I started with Buddhism because I wanted to help myself, to heal myself, and I realized how powerful it is, until a certain point where I realized that it's a great tool to help myself and develop myself and open up whatever needs to be open, but it's not a tool to heal others. And if you want to heal others with meditation, like most people know, it takes a very long time and very long dedication. It's not something that you can give as a service. So I just started looking for more bits and pieces of the puzzle. And I was always drawn to traditional methods and lineages because I know that they contain much more value and knowledge and truth. But since I live in Israel, I have a family, I have kids, I have a full-time job. It's not like I could just plunge into this life, or become a monk in Korea or go to South America, or I couldn't. So I had to mix and match things that one teacher is maybe was lacking in this point of view, and the other teacher was lacking in that point of view. I try to integrate. I hope everything is integrated in my mind correctly. That's my wish. But so far, it's not my path. So,
I think a lot of people, Moran, are looking for ways to enhance their own spirituality and to support their own path. And I find that valuable that you have many resources to draw upon, as well as you are an example of someone who's seeking. And I know you've found quite a bit of validity within the shamanic energy medicine field. And
yes.
yet, your explorations in themselves are valuable, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. So, one example is that I'm still very rooted in Buddhism. When you talk about soul loss, there's a part of my Buddhist mind that is like, there is no soul. you know, it's very hard to integrate these things, and the energy, and my whole perception, my whole concept is very mashed up, and it's still forming. But Buddhism was my biggest eye opener for the mystic, but it gave me a taste of more. And my teachers were like, forget about the mysticism, it's not important, focus on the day, and this day and now, the present moment, where you are now, sitting, looking at the lights and the air conditioning, and the table and the chair. And I was like, yeah, but Buddha did a lot of other things. It's written, you teach me this, but you don't want me to touch it. So it wasn't a reaction for their answers. And when I found my first shamanic workshop of just getting to know your power animal, there was no animal, there was an Egyptian deity. And so it was more than I expected, and it already propelled me to the next step without me even trying. It was on my second workshop, actually. The first one was amazing, but not quite, and the second one was even crazier. And then that Egyptian deity, when I asked him, okay, what should I do? What should I learn? How can I serve other people? After a few months of playing with it and asking questions about myself, and the first time I asked the question, okay, how do I work with other people with this? What do I do? And he told me, go study energy healing. So he sent me on another path, and when I keep getting more clues and more tasks, and I complete them, I get the next stage and the next stage, and sometimes it takes me far away, sometimes it tells me to stay. I just follow, I try to follow as best as I can.
we're all looking for guidance. I
Yeah.
think that's fair to say. Since you mentioned the Egyptian sources, I wonder if you could say a little bit about the Egyptian spirit guide that you even source from in your sessions now.
Yeah, so well, my background is Jewish and I was born in Israel, so I was kind of happy to get a close by ally that's like, oh, from the land and and the stories, but I didn't know anything about him. If Sandra Ingerman is talking about Isis as her main teacher, I have the other side, Osiris, the husband. And I knew this guy existed, but I didn't know anything about him. And I just got the name and the face and the body, and I started Googling and reading about it, and whatever I could find, if it was like an official research or a book or just something that randomly somebody channeled, I wanted to understand why this deity and why me. And a lot of things matched. A lot of things matched at the time uh, with a past life experience that I had, with my attraction to the dark side of things, to trauma, to healing trauma, to death and regeneration. And it's a long conversation, but a lot of these things matched, and something in the story also matched with my past life experience that I had later, and bits of pieces matched together, and it just gave me accurate information. It gave me accurate guidance. I ask for a sign and I see this sign manifested in reality within a week or within a few days, or I get some guidance of this person is going to have an issue, and it happens after a few weeks. So I just learned to trust it. And from there it branched off to different things, because whenever I was in a fork, in a junction where I didn't know where to go, the guidance worked. If it's for me, for sure. And when I tested it and I trusted it a bit more after maybe 2 years, I started helping other people with the same guidance. But it took a lot to convince me that it's true.
So you use this Egyptian spirit guidance through your work with clients.
Yes, because whatever they come to me with, their issue of current life, usually most people come for future decisions. If it's for their business or for their relationships or for where they want to live or what they want to do with their life, most people don't come to me to heal their trauma. Unfortunately, that's interesting, but they don't want to do it. And they don't want to touch on these subjects, but there's always some blockage. There's always some block or something negative that happened that prevents them from moving forward, whatever that field of life will be. And this is where I use the spirit guidance in healing those traumas, or cutting the cords, or retrieving the soul pieces, or whatever is necessary for them to move on. And once that is cleared, it's very easy to get the new intuition. It's very easy to open your vision. It's very easy to realize that something that seems like an obstacle is not really an obstacle. So I realized that by working with people and also workshops, that you have to give them something nice in the beginning, something nice to look forward to, and then they're open to working on the dark side and the shadows and going inside and resurfacing from there. So that's just my little trick of of using this guidance in a correct way.
Well, it's nice.
Because yeah,
It's nice to know ahead of time that there'll be. When you say something nice, what would you say that would consist of? What kind of
I
things?
mean, nice is, I tried to not to be so new agey, but I mean, nice is connect with your own spiritual guidance, or find your life purpose, or receive messages from within your inner voice and inner compass. Something that is like, I'm not, there's no 100% guarantee that you're gonna get the answer in the first round, but you will get answer, and you will get some tasks or missions to go through in order to find your goal. So eventually it always works. And after I started working with him for a few years, also other spirit guides joined, some animals, some deities, but he's like the main one for these types of healing. And I also used also during the Mongolian course, it was like, well, well, that's weird, but it works. So
I'm happy you mentioned once again the
yeah.
Mongolian part of your work. I have a special affinity toward stones, and I appreciate them and their guidance. Could you tell us a little bit about the Mongolian stone readings that you offer?
Yeah. Um, so the disclaimer is that I'm not supposed to teach it. I'm not supposed to explain what it is because this is the NDA. This is the secrets of the trade that you know, that I got from the teacher and her elders. But basically, divination is very common in many countries by bones, by stones, by cards like tarot or normal playing cards, feathers, just by reading the signs of the sky. Um, but if you think about it, is trying to find a pattern in a randomness. So if you throw on the surface, on any surface, a bunch of stones or a bunch of dice or bones, there will be some pattern that comes out randomly, but not really random, since everything is connected, like the I Ching also. And the pattern will be connected to the question and the intention that you set. So in the Mongolian 41 stone divination is like a grid of nine squares, like tic-tac-toe. But every square of these 9 square will contain a number of stones, and some of the stones have meanings other than the others that signifies an illness or an attachment or a curse or wealth or prosperity. And the arrangement of this grid and the stones in the grid and the position and the relationship between them is something that you get taught to how to read and how to reflect upon this physical grid and get the intuition and understand the situation about the person. So this is an example for instance that you may learn how to do a shamanic journey for clients, but how much do you trust your intuition and how much do you trust the signs and the symbols that you see? In Mongolia, the shamans, they always do the divination first because this is like a diagnostic tool on top of their skills and intuitions and messages. It's like another layer of validity that what you're seeing and what you're sensing is true. In a lot of sessions, then you talk to the client and you think, we should really focus on the mother because the mother side is the most critical for the healing. But you do the stones divination and you realize, no, the mother is just a symptom of the father, and the father is the root cause. The mother is the most painful, but the root cause is the father or the father bloodline. And the divination is super accurate, crazy accurate, but it's also focus you on the root cause, which is just to make an efficient healing. You don't want to waste time.
To ask you one more question about the stone divination without giving anything away, would you, and you've been quite generous in providing a context, a reason, and the basic context for the stone divination itself. If someone were to come to you and ask for a stone divination, is that appropriate, or would you engage that yourself as further information about what is going on with your client?
So I never do anything without permission. Anyway, I will have to ask you for your date of birth, and I cannot do it without you. But yeah, sometimes if it's not a part of the session, I will just do it before the session just to make sure that I know what's gonna surface and which problems are the main ones and which are the symptoms or side effects. And sometimes we do it during the session because then I can also validate what I see. I see something within the stones. I ask you, did you have something with your brother, or did you have something in your childhood? and you say yes, and I know, okay, this grid is accurate, now let's go on and move deeper. But I am the difference, maybe the difference between, let's say, a stone divination like this and tarot is that you cannot just ask any open-ended question. Stone divination is a diagnostic tool for the energy illnesses, you can say. It's not what should I be, when I grow up. That's not going to tell you anything. But it will tell you, if you want to be something, you have to solve this, this, and this.
I believe that you love exploration in the deeper and darker realms, that you feel that that kind of exploration will really give the very best results. Am I on track there?
Yes. But I mean,
How would you explain it?
well, it started from my own general uh, intention of helping myself and healing myself. It sounds like I never had any, rich spiritual life before, I don't know, 10 years ago. And I was never gifted in any psychic way, maybe that I'm not aware of, but I wasn't seeing spirit, I wasn't communicating in any, way that I could say, yes, I had this as a gift. So my curiosity became that I just got bored of the mundane life and mundane world. And because I'm attracted to spirituality, you keep on seeing texts and books and channeling and visions about the mystic side of life and the other side. So I just wanted to prove to myself, is this real? And if a teacher comes and teach me something or shows me something, or if there's a tarot reader or any psychic that gives me an answer, I want to know how they do it and is it real? And I worked for such company as a marketer. I worked for a platform that gives this service to others online, and there was hundreds of them, and they make lots of money. And I wondered, is this real? Are they just conning people, or do they actually give valuable answers? So it took me a few years, but eventually I decided to try it on myself and see if it works. So first Buddhism worked, and then shamanism worked, and the more I go and trust and open, more and more things work, and I see the benefit, and I heal myself first, and I heal my own stuff. And then if I see that it's working, then I can continue trying this on other people, as long as I get, the guidance and the teaching and everything. But I never do anything that I don't know myself, that I don't believe and tried and tested myself. And I have some methods that I don't like and I don't trust and I don't do. um, yeah, but and the other side of the question is that something that I thought about a few days ago. I read something about, I don't know, on Facebook, something about, Western culture destroying things as usual. Pharmaceuticals, medicine, food, and like everybody likes to cheer for this Facebook post that is like bashing the big companies and the Western culture, that we are ruining everything and Mother Nature was everything, without us, and we're just ruining everything. And these companies are making so much money, but it's the people. People don't want to heal. People just want to get their symptoms, over. They buy the medicine, they buy the junk food, they drink the alcohol, they do the, like, yes, somebody will exploit it and sell them because there's money, but the majority is the clients, is the consumers, that they still want, the quick fix for everything. And that's so counterintuitive in my eyes, in my personality structure, that I don't do things this way. I want to go deep and I want to find the source and I want to fix something for good. I don't want to waste time in dealing with symptoms. Um, so that's what I'm trying to find.
Moran, what kind of person would be best suited to meet with you, and what might a first session be like?
So usually people come to me when they're already, they have some experience, either with meditation or psychedelics, or any other transformative workshop that they had before, like of psychotherapy or stuff like that. they're not freaked out easily. um, and usually they're also, what happens, that's why I look young. I'm 37. I and I try to look older maybe a bit, because people that come to me, they look for guidance, they're usually around 40 years old. That's like where I live. And okay, they have their career, they have their kids, and they know that something is missing, or they know that something is broken, and they know they can't continue living like this for the next 20 more years or 30 more years. And they know that maybe inside they're not the person they're meant to be now. There's somebody else waiting for them. um, so usually the questions or the issues that were given to me by men were more about life goal and career oriented stuff. That sounds superficial, but actually underneath there's lots of trauma. And there's lots of shame and guilt from the parents that never let them do and follow the dreams, or never let them speak out the truth, so now they don't even know how their own truth is sound like. Or maybe some parent that was pushing them to one direction and they became very pleasing people. Women, sometimes they come for more direct healing. Relationship with a daughter, relationship with a mother, relationship with a husband. But also somehow it's connected to the future. Nobody comes to me and says, please heal my past. I cannot continue moving any day unless I heal this thing. Everybody wants to move forward. And then I tell them, if you want to move forward, you have to cut the chains of these weights that are blocking you and weighing you down. And I enjoy it because I like to have a goal. I like to call them up after 1 month and ask, what happened since? Did you achieve the goal? Did you move one step closer? Did you find something that you were looking for? Did you had this tough conversation with your spouse or brother or mother? It's nice to have a goal, because you can also test yourself. Was the healing impactful? But I know it's always connected to the past. There's always something.
I think that's great, Moran, to be so clear about that, that to really make big changes, the past needs to be considered and healed. Would you say that that's a part of the practical shamanism that you're speaking of? Because you use that term. What's that about?
Well, I think in both traditions, as far as I know of, in also South America and in Mongolia, they talk about, they serve the community, right? And they have their own traditions and ceremonies. But eventually, they have to serve in a practical way. They have to help people make money, or find food, or make it rain, or stop the enemy, or find hunt. Like, this is the traditional job, and it's not so different today. And we still have to, if not hunt for food, then we have to get money to buy it. And what I feel that is there is a gap between people who can give you great insight, but that's all they can give. Maybe like tarot readers or psychics or channelers, that they can give you a very clear reading about your situation, but they cannot heal you. That's not their skill. And the other side of people may be really good in healing, but they will do a lot of different things, and they will not receive the guidance and the channeling or the spirit message of what really is the root cause, what needs to be healed. So they will do a lot of nice things, but they will never touch the root cause. And I'm trying through my training, I'm not perfect, I'm trying through my training to combine both. I will get the accurate guidance and I will know how to use it. And then you can solve something or pass a really good milestone in a very short number of sessions, sometimes maybe just one, because you see the physical or the emotional reaction of the person and you realize that something is unblocked. And it's in every tradition that, the chi is flowing, or the rivers of light, or whatever you want to call it, or, the chakras system, or, the Father, Son, and Mother Earth. if the downward flow is stuck somewhere, or the upward flow is stuck somewhere, or the chakras are not, something will get wrong. The pipes are clogged, the arteries are clogged. It's the same in nature, it's the same in our physical body, so why not in the energetic body? Why not? It's the same.
What would a first session be like? I know that it's got to be different with everyone, but if someone's simply curious, maybe they have a block, or maybe they just want something more, or maybe they want to meet with you and get your assessment of their situation, or what you would suggest for them. There could be a number of ways that people would be inspired to meet with you. How would you begin?
So usually we have in a session three sections, three parts. First is a conversation. I'm really a big supporter of the healing experience, which means I don't use any modalities that are passive for the client. The client is always engaged with some type of modality. It's unlike maybe, types of healing like theta healing. If you're familiar with theta healing, is that I do something and you receive it unconsciously and I just tell you it's done. I'm not like that. So we start engaging in conversation that is deliberately engaging the emotional side and the psychological side, because I found and I was taught that first let the person talk, let them vent. Somebody's finally hearing their troubles. It's very healing by itself. Somebody is willing to listen, and by questioning them during this conversation and mirroring and reflecting, which is very similar to focusing or something that you would do in psychotherapy, just let them vent, but focus them on what really is painful. And once this part is over and we realize what is really painful today, or what is really painful related to the topic that they want to solve, then I turn to the stone divination and I want to check, is this really it? Or maybe there's something else. Maybe this is just a symptom. Maybe this is a root cause, but maybe there's something else we need to address today because they are related. And also during the stone divination, I ask questions to understand, am I going to the right direction? And does it make sense for the client? Because if it doesn't make sense, then we don't need to talk about it and I can do it on my own separately and just, help them. But if it's not contributing to their image right now, it's not useful for them to hear. And then the third part would be the shamanic journey. So according to what we find within the person's emotional response with the body, with the divination, we turn to any one of the modalities of the shamanic journey that we can work with. If it's cord cutting or soul retrieval, like the classic ones, but we can also do family constellation or inner child work, as long as the client is, willing to touch on important and painful subjects. And what I also really like to do at the end is to wrap things up with a narrative. Because we focus in spiritual world, we focus a lot on the emotions and the body, and the mind is a little bit let your mind, free your mind, let your mind stay out of this conversation, just feel it, but eventually after the experience is over and you see what you see in the shamanic journey, and you experience something maybe physically, energetically, emotionally, you need to remember what it was. You need to find any coherent memory to explain it to yourself and to explain it to other people, and to maybe write it down so you can say, wow, I really changed since that session, but I know what happened to me and I know how my structure is different now. So I also really support some kind of rebuilding the narrative again at the end. But these are the basic structure.
I like that. I also know, Moran, that you are an advocate of homework, that you believe that the client has something to do beyond the session itself. Is that a fair summary of what I
Yeah,
heard from you?
I mean, if you go to the doctor, they give you a prescription for the pills and you don't take the pills, then it's not going to work, right? Why do you even go to the doctor? But in case of healing, it's always more difficult. It's not just doing something nice for yourself. Sometimes it is. Sometimes you just have to take a bath with salt or go to the beach and spend more time in nature to balance yourself. That's nice. But it's always, there's usually something else you have to do, which is make this difficult conversation with your mother, or quit your job. Or, it's not something that I tell them, but it's something that comes up that they want to do, and they suddenly get the courage and unblocking things that makes them realize, wow, this is what I have to do. So this is your task. The spirits gave you the insight and the guidance, not just for fun. It's not like a $5 tarot reading on the street. They gave it to you so you can use it and find your purpose and make it and accomplish it. And I realized that if you don't do it, you can't come complaining later that, oh, sorry, give me more guidance. But maybe, you really need to make an effort to show them that you're serious and that you're willing to make sacrifices in order to get more help or more guidance or more specific things that you can solve yourself, but you have to make the first step.
I understand from what you said earlier, Moran, that you like to check back with a client and see if they have, for instance, done their homework or if your work has been effective. Do you incorporate that normally or in your relationship with a client, or does that just happen or not as it occurs?
Well, I do it for myself mainly. I want to know if it worked, and I want to know if they took it seriously. Sometimes it's very straightforward because for the skeptics, for the people that are more new to this field, we ask for symbols. We ask for proof. How do you know that this is true? You saw amazing guidance, you saw something that scares you because you have to take a leap of faith and change your life. How do you know that this is true? Or how, if we do future tracking, how do we know that this point in time will be the critical decision point? So we ask for some symbol, we ask for some sign. And usually that's the most interesting part, and I tell them, write it down and watch for it, right? And if you see it, send me a message, send me the picture, like that way you know it's true, you know it manifested in real life, and now you have to do it because it's true. And sometimes it's just genuine interest in the people, like, well, how did this conversation with your father worked, or how did this conversation with your wife worked? Like, did it really give you what you needed? Or maybe you need more. Maybe you realize, well, that was one step, but I actually see another step coming. It's just so interesting to see how these people will walk the path, because I know for me, like I said, it keeps on winding, so it's really just genuine interest to see.
Moran, I think it's fair to say that you love this work. There's something about it that really moves you. There's something about dealing with clients, with people, that really strikes a chord. How would you describe what you love about this work?
It's unpredictable. I said it before that I got tired of the mundane world. It means that, well, both of my parents are very tech people. They're very um, you know logical people, um, and they instilled it in me in a way that it was very hard to escape. But I think I did eventually. So work being a student in a normal high school, having a normal life, studying physics, computer, math, languages, everything was very predictable. Everything is very, if you're good at it, if you're good at a subject, it's kind of boring eventually because it becomes mechanical. You can predict a lot of things, especially what I do in my normal day job. is marketing. And with marketing, you do a lot of statistics and projections and Excel sheets and numbers, and it's boring. Because yeah, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but it never surprises you too much. There's always some statistic significance involved. And once I started tapping into the spiritual world and doing the practices, a lot of unpredictable things happened in a good way, right? That things that I realized, well, it cannot come from my conscious mind, because I never knew this thing existed. And some of the things could not have come from my subconscious mind, because it's not even me. It's not even my thing. It's the client's or the client's relative. So it gives you the confidence that we are all connected. There is some kind of connecting field, because you can tap into it and receive information that you have never guessed you can know before, and you have no ability to know without the fact that it is connected. And it's like a feedback loop for myself, when I started and until now, to gain more trust, to be more open, to accept more of this path, and also to have fun, because if it's unpredictable, then there's always something new. You can keep yourself curious and open, and motivated to continue. And it's also very key for the shamanic journey itself, because if you want to receive guidance, if you want to receive information, and if you want to receive something good that is surprising and new and will steer you up in a new direction, and not just something that came from your back storage, and not something that came from your ego, you have to be open, you have to be curious, and you have to be patient. And this is something I always tell to my to people that come to workshops, or to clients that never journeyed before. And it's like a microcosmos of the journey, but it's the macrocosmos of the path, or else you're stuck in your own loop.
One comment a moment ago, Moran, was that we're all connected. And that reminds me of the mission or the vision of the Shamans Directory itself: one fire, one medicine. And I think that's one of the reasons why I especially wanted to talk to you, because I think you have a dedicated, unique medicine to offer to the fire. And I think that it's important for people to hear your voice and to work with you if they choose. Is there something about the vision of the one fire, one medicine that strikes you as being valid, or strikes you as being meaningful in some way?
Yes. So I think we're in this stage. I don't really like all these theories about human consciousness evolution. I think it's very general usually. I think there's no one clear path for humanity, and there's no one clear prophecy. But I like the fact that it's more approachable now, and more people are um, experiencing it, whether it's through shamanic journeying, or plant medicine, or psychedelics, or just meditation and mindfulness. Of course, something is growing. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know if this is the direction that we were all purposely intended for. I don't know. But what I know is that we need more redundancy, which means if in the 60s or 50s, or in traditions, we counted more on the gurus and on the big teachers or the masters to show us the way, now we need more normal people. Just normal people that live in their communities, that speak the language, that dress normally, that can talk to you eye level and expose you to this vast greatness of the spiritual world, and they can do their work and get this task of opening the minds of humanity, and raising the vibration, or whatever you want to call it, more scattered and more efficiently in these micro interactions than having just a few gurus in the world that are unapproachable, that maybe are expensive, that just maybe are very far away, or maybe they don't speak your language, or maybe you think that they just trained for 50 years and you can never be the same. And I really appreciate that the service that we can give to people, or just expose them to the fact that it exists, and then they can do it on their own if they want, is more approachable, and they can see a variety of faces, variety of colors, nations, languages, price, whatever, as long as they can find a niche so they can plug into and say, you know what, this guy, I don't like his style, this guy, I don't believe he's true, but I think I can connect with you or you or you, and you open up the door for me. And that's much more important than having just a few very powerful masters and gurus that you can stand in line and wait for 6 months maybe to have a session with, or go to a workshop with.
I know that you are going to continue to do your own healing as part of your path. And I do want to ask you, Moran, if I could, about how do you envision your own future? How do you see your practice evolving, or do you have a sense of where you're headed in your shaman?
So one of my sessions that I had, that was giving to me, that I was a client for, and maybe like a teacher for a little bit, and I always like to mention the people who taught me things. So we had a healing session, and she was also part of the Four Winds Society in the past. So we did that hairstyle, and we did some future tracking together. And one of the things I saw, and I saw it twice already, is interesting in two ways. First, I saw like a geographic pointer telling me that Spain is not my final destination. It's like Google Maps, seeing that you're gonna go from west, but back east, but north. And then I started to scratch my head, like where on the map is that? Like, is it Sweden? Is it Germany? How? I don't know. So I have this feeling and this guidance that like the same guidance that took me out of Israel to move to Spain, told me that within the next 20 years or so, you will have to relocate again northern. I don't know if it's related to climate change or not, but maybe. So that's one thing. And then the substantial part inside it was that I was like seeing a physical community living in nature and doing these practices together. Like, like a tribe, but a modern one, like all those eco villages. But the eco village was not the purpose. It was more like going back to this concept of tribe and elders living in nature, working with nature, I guess, for sure, escaping climate change, I guess, for sure. But it means that I'm trying to grow myself as a leader, to have my leadership skills, not for now, not to make money, not to serve clients, not to but for 20 years from now. Something that's even something bigger and scarier that I don't even know how to interpret. And I already saw this vision twice, so it makes me realize that that something is waiting for me. And it's also scary because part of this vision was that I will be alone. And I'm not sure if it means alone, like, without a family or without friends or without support, but something scary in a way that I have to grow my leadership and confidence and my own skills to be able to carry that task or whatever it is. It wasn't a nice vision, at least part of it. It was very pleasant for the other people around me in that vision, but for me it was kind of scary and very lonely. So I don't know. I don't know how to take this from the point in the present now. But all I know is that while I'm helping other people finding their purpose, that's also what I'm doing for myself.
And that's what I like about you, Moran, is that you're curious, you're an explorer. You have a freshness and a availability, I might even say vulnerability, to say what it is that's truly going on with you, in addition to applying your skills and experience to the work of others. I love that you will work with other people based on experiences that you've had that work, that you've tried everything that you're offering, you discard some of them, you embrace others. Um, I like the part that you work on your past. You continue to work on your past to free yourself up for this future that you're talking about, and that you offer an openness, as you say, an openness, a curiosity,
Yeah.
and patience to other people.
I
Um,
think I think a lot of people in the beginning of their, you can say, career, 'cause the spiritual path can start way before, but when you start taking it seriously and you want to make it into a career or vocation, oh, everybody has this imposter syndrome, or saying, am I good enough? Am I already prepared? Am I, you know? So working on these things helps me to move forward as well. Working on past life experiences, working on family stuff, you test the tools on yourself, but it also makes you feel like, well, I'm just 37, but my experience at least is valid for these type of things that I do. um, I may go to an ayahuasca retreat, but I'm not giving ayahuasca retreats. This, I help myself with this, and I use the insights and visions to help other people. But I'm not. Maybe I don't even want to, but I don't give it. So every time I go through this one of these stages, I think it also helps this confidence of, yes, I can do it, and I can help other people, at least with whatever I have until this point. And a lot of young people, from my circles that that I meet, they always have these things. Even 50-year-olds.
well, as we come to a close of this time that we're able to share together, Moran, is there something that you'd like to offer in particular? I want to leave people with a coherent memory using your inspiration of our time together and
Yeah.
what they can expect were they to work with you. Is there something you'd like to offer in addition to what's already been said?
Yeah, so I wanna say something, and also I wanna do like maybe 5 minutes guided journey, which is very useful to warm up before the actual journey. And it's good mainly for beginners, but it's always good for other people if they feel that the same day they're not so focused, or maybe their mind is all over the place, or maybe they're not so connected today because whatever happened. So we can do that. But something that I got out of guidance that I didn't really hear before in trainings and other teachers is about cord cutting. So this is for people that are more familiar with it. When we do cord cutting, we have to install new cords as well. And usually we talk about cord cutting and healing the wounds and thanking the other person, and saying goodbye or detaching in a nice clear way. But I never heard anybody say, but you have to balance that cord and anchor it now with a positive aspect. So if you think about the constellation in the sun in the middle, if you take one of the planets away, the whole balance, the whole harmony is shifted, and then something will go off course, right? So if you take one element away now, you cut the cord with one negative influence, and you don't want the whole system to go off course, you have to link yourself or anchor yourself with a positive balancing aspect within other relationships that you have. Or else you're going to disturb the system. And this is something important that I was guided to share. Um, so whenever you cut something, you secure it with something else, like rule of thumb, don't forget.
Like a what?
And
Like what would you say as a something else?
so let me give you an example. If I want to forget about my mythological ex-girlfriend from high school, I have to anchor myself with my wife. So I cut the cord from that one, which is dragging me down for years, and I will install a new cord with my wife that will be supportive and positive for my current relationship. If I want to disconnect from some negative influence from my father, I will connect it to a teacher, or connect it to somebody that will balance and keep me on course. Because just in Buddhism, the common balance is that if you keep on pushing away or if you keep holding, neither are good. Right? You can't just say, I don't want you, I don't want you, I don't want you, because then you focus all the energy on pushing them away forever. You're not really cutting. But if you're saying, thank you, I don't need you anymore, I have this now, then at least you're balanced.
That makes so much sense. And I too have not heard that before, certainly not presented in that way. So I appreciate that.
Yeah. So for 5 minutes, I guess, we can do this warm-up exercise. And I will just use you as a guinea pig, as my client.
Perfect.
And I will ask you some follow-up questions when we finish. And like I said, I really appreciate the experience for the client. So this is going to be very tactile. So if you can close your eyes and take a big inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth slowly, and relax your forehead, relax your jaw, relax your arms, your lower back, your legs, and just imagine that you're walking barefoot in a forest. And you can feel the texture of the ground underneath your feet, maybe dry, maybe wet. There's also some temperature to it. Maybe it's cool from the morning, maybe it's warm from the sun. And you can continue walking through this forest with your left foot forward and with your right foot forward, feeling the weight of your body against the ground. And passing through a tree, you can wave your hand on the bark of the tree and feel the texture. Really touch the tree and feel if it's rugged or soft or smooth. And with your other hand, maybe feel the leaves. Maybe they have dew on them. Maybe they're a little spiky. And the forest is quiet and peaceful. And you can feel some breeze brushing against your skin. And maybe hear some animal sounds. And in front of you, when you keep going in this forest, you see a lake. A little lake that comes out of a spring and a waterfall. But the water color is different. It has a different color and shape, maybe, than normal water. And everything is very peaceful and safe, so we can put your foot inside the water and feel its temperature and freshness and aliveness. And when you put your both feet into the water, all the stress of the day is washed off, all the skepticism, all the worries you can give to the water and see how it floats down and absorbs like black oil that comes off you and absorbs into the water and disappears. And you keep going a little bit more close to the waterfall and let its water wash you and give the energy of the color to your body and nourish your energy field so you're ready for the journey. And you keep walking inside the waterfall, under the water, so behind the waterfall there is a cave. And it's dark, but it's very safe and welcoming to go deeper into the cave. And the physical size of the cave doesn't matter, because you can go deeper and deeper, and it gets darker and darker and darker in the cave until you see one spot of light going bigger. And on the other side of this cave, of this light getting bigger and bigger, you will see a new place, a new terrain, a new scene with one or two or three spirit guides. And the spirit guide can be human, can be an animal, can be a deity, can be a creature. Look for it. You might not see it on the first glance. So you're approaching to the end of the cave, going through the light soon. And in 3, 2, 1, you exit on the other side into a new place, in a new terrain. And take a big breath in and look around you and see what you can see, if there are mountains or sand or an ocean or trees or buildings. And if there's anybody or anything approaching you, waving at you, trying to get your attention. And when you're ready, open your eyes. So what color were the water?
Light turquoise.
Isn't it nice that you just give your mind some task and just suddenly it gives you something else?
I'm still there. I hope that others are informed by their own experience and receive this gift that you've offered.
Did you go into a new landscape that you never saw before, or did you see your usual spirit guides and locations?
It was a new landscape. There were lots of flowers there. Initially, I was in a spring type setting, but it was early spring, like I'm experiencing in the lands I walk now. But this one was a fully embraced, expressive spring where there was so much flowering and so much color and so many natural features that all seemed very palpable and alive.
And was there any spirit guide?
It felt like everything in its own way was guiding me. And yet I did notice this village, somewhat like you were talking to us about in our discussion. And it was both natural and high tech at the same time. There
Okay.
was a very vital, alive kind of village, and in this seemingly idyllic kind of setting, and yet totally connected and integrated with the wider world.
Yeah. So this what we did is, usually instead of explaining people what shamanic journey is and that you have the middle world and the upper world and the lower world, and we just give them a setting like this. There's a landscape and there's a guide, and if there's no guide, at least you know where to look for, because you go back to the same set and setting like this. And instead of trying to explain the whole cosmology in one session, you engage the senses by feeling and touching and feeling the temperature and seeing. So and then I check, are they visual? Some people are very visual and some people are less visual, and this is how I check what's their skill in visualization. And they have a springboard to start the actual journey with the guide or without, and look for the guide later. And it's like a shortcut instead of trying to explain everything.
As you say, it's experience rather than
Yeah,
mental explanation.
yeah.
I think you would like this place. You probably already live there, as well as several other dimensions.
Yeah, who knows? I was born in a very similar setting, like in the next to the woods and the sea and the beach, and I live in Spain in a very similar setting. So I wonder, it keeps haunting me, you know, this type of life in a good way, of course.
Moran, what a delight to spend some moments with you. I really appreciate everything that you've shared of yourself, your journey, what you have to offer. As I close, and in appreciation for you, I love the phrase that you said in relationship to Shamans Directory, to expose to the vast greatness of the spiritual world. That you do that naturally, I feel, and that's one of your missions. And I also love the phrase that you're encouraging people to look for someone who can open the door for them. And I think you've shown us that you're one of those people that, for many, um, can be an open door. Is there anything you'd like to say in
Yeah,
conclusion?
so I want to thank you for your time and for this interview. It was really fun. And I love that somebody wants to hear me talk about these things, because majority of the people don't, you know. Normal people on the street, you see, you know, they have so much grief and luggage and baggage that they carry within themselves, but they don't want to hear about it and they don't want to open up, and they prefer just numbing themselves up. So I'm happy that somebody wants to hear, and I'm happy that this will be shared with other people. And I'm grateful for for the website, for the directory, because I think we shared it in the conversation before, that there was nothing like this before. There were directories of specific teachers allowing their students to find more clients, but there was nothing that was unifying traditions and countries and lineages and systems together in one place, and everybody is equal. And you can be in the same directory with somebody really famous or somebody really experienced, but still be there. And it's opening the door for a lot of people, I think, that are genuinely looking for, you know, to help other people and to spread the word. Because for me, it's really, if I put it in a scale between, okay, meditation you do with yourself, it's like a practice every day, and psychedelics you do maybe once in a X months to have like a very big experience. But the shamanic journey, the shamanic tools are so approachable and so practical and useful that, you know, it's not too much and it's not too little, and it's useful, and I wish more people would know about it, because as far as I see with my own experience and clients, it's really opening the minds of so many peoples, and it really helps them to get to the root cause of the issue fast and open things up in this kind of mix of, I always tell, like, hypnosis and guided meditation and psychotherapy and coaching at the same time. So and if you add more traditional tools, then it's even better. Like,
Thank you, Moran. Thank you all for watching this special edition of Shaman to Shaman. Moran, we look forward to seeing you again. You can be reached through Shaman's Directory, through your profile there. We really appreciate your time, your gifts, your willingness to share and offer so much of yourself. Please do check out Shaman's Directory and meet Moran there, meet other shamans, make shamanistic intervention a natural part of your healing and well-being routine. It intends to bring people together and be around the fire. We'll meet you